Here we go, it's starting.
It's working now.
Yep. Hold on, I'm just gonna... Hello, everyone. Apologies, we had some technical difficulties. I am going to hand it back over to your host, Gabe, who will introduce.
Hi, everybody. Sorry again about the technical difficulties. We'll get started right away here after I introduce Christine. Hello, and welcome to Flower Designing from Your Garden. I'm Gabe Gedeke, and I'm the Seed Savers Exchange Membership and Development Intern, and I'll be your host. Thanks to Sweet Botanical Bakes for sponsoring this session. We're here today with Christine Williams. Christine graduated with a degree in Floral Design and Management in 1987, and after working at several flower shops, she became the head wedding designer at a high-end shop for several years and opened her own shop and became the preferred wedding designer for Chiefs Arrowhead events. Throughout this time, Christine has grown flowers, greenery, and fillers to use in her wedding designs so she doesn't have to purchase from wholesalers from May through October. In 2016, Christine started teaching floral design classes to adults and teens, gardeners, and farmers. In 2019, Christine and her husband moved their urban farm to help build Agape Grow Education Center, where they teach all types of gardening, cooking, floral design, and art classes. Today, Christine will be showing you how to use flowers from your garden to make a beautiful centerpiece of your own. We'll have time at the end as well for questions, so yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Christine now.
Hello. Thank you guys for coming out today to the Seed Saver and taking the floral design class with me. I am thrilled to be able to show you how easy it is to design flowers from your garden. We're going to talk about a few things that you've got to have on hand to do the different designs, and then we'll talk about some of the different flowers that you'll be able to grab or things that are unusual to grab to put in your arrangement. So the list that I had given you to have prepared was a 10 to 12 inch vase, and preferably you got one that is fluted up here at the top. It makes it a little bit easier for you. The difference would be a vase like this that is squared, so it's not fluted. Still easy to design in, but this will, for a beginner, makes it much easier. I did bring a couple different sizes to show you. When it's rectangle, it's even a little bit harder to get the design done, but you just do different styles in it. And then the other vase like this, another one is a great one, but it's fluted at the top also. If you are doing ones that you need oases in them, this is actually for silk flowers, but there is fresh oases that you can use, and those are really easy, and you can do roundy moundings and right and left angle ones really easy in this. And so I just wanted to show a couple different things like that. Next thing you need to do is have your water in your vase and put your flower food in. And so you can purchase flower food. You can actually put 7-Up and a little bit of aspirin in it, and that helps your flowers last longer too. I always use purchased flower food for ours. And then I'm not going to be doing this, but this is a step that you can do if you are feeling really uncomfortable to do this on your own. You can get tape, and it's a floral tape, and this one's a clear one for clear vases, and you would crisscross across the top here. This one's a Davy tape, and you can use that too in it, and I'm trying to find the end of one of these, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. But you would just do a crisscross and make sections so that your flowers will go in at an angle and they'll be secure. So, but we are not doing that today. I did not give you that information to have something like that on hand, but I just did want to just bring it up. when you're starting your flower arrangements, you pretty well have most of your stuff prepared and ready to go. So I try to always get all of the leaves off the bottom. If I need to wire something, I wire it all at the same time. And so I try to have that done. Any of the accessories that you're going to put in, like a bow, I go on and make up my bows ahead of time. But I'm going to actually show you how to make a bow in a few minutes too. But I try to have everything so that I know it's here and I'm ready to go. I want to talk just a little bit about when you harvest your flowers or greenery. Best time is in the morning. Best circumstances would be that you watered the night before so that they are really hydrated, and then harvest as early as you can in the morning. If you can take a bucket out to the garden, cut it and put it straight into the bucket. When you're cutting it, you want to cut it at an angle. So we're not going straight on, we're going to go at an angle so it's pointed. And the reason why is because if it was straight, it would hit the bottom of the vase and could not suck up any water. But at the angle, it gets to the bottom, and now it still has surface area to be able to drink that water and stay hydrated. So that's the first thing that you're going to do. You harvest your flowers as early as possible and then get them in to cool temperatures. If you have a walk-in cooler or a large enough refrigerator to put them in, but if I don't, there's been many times that I don't have something like that, I sit them next to the air conditioning vent so that they stay nice and cool. Now, before you do that, when you bring them in, and it all depends on this temperature, you've got your water, you've cut them, they're in the water and they're drinking. You can let them just sit in more of a room temperature area for a couple hours and then move them to where it's nice and cold. And that way they're going to give you a long-lasting flower. Okay, so we're going to start designing. I always start with my greenery first, and I'm not going to put all my greenery in, but I need to make it so that it will hold everything in place. And so the greenery helps do that. And so this is actually an elderberry stick, and I'm going to take off these lower leaves. I don't need them down there. And I measure my vase and my flowers together here. So the vase is, see how it's a little bit above. I don't want this like a wild, crazy tree. So I'm keeping this arrangement down low for the greenery, and then I'm going to build upon it and make a larger arrangement. So I'm going to actually cut this down a little bit more. I'm cutting it at an angle, and so that's a good amount. This is going to be right in the center. And then I've got some hostas, and almost everybody has hostas, and these are wonderful to use in your arrangement. And then I'm going to put those in at an angle, so I'm going in, angle it in, and I cut it there before, and it's going to be sitting on the ledge of our vase. Do the next one, and I'm just going to put a few of them around. And one of the things that I did have on your list is if you had a lazy Susan, you could put that under here, because you're going to notice that I'm going to be turning this arrangement quite often. So it just helps a little bit. I don't have one. I learned without it, and so I don't think about it until it's time. So I am putting 5 of these hosta leaves in here. So it's really already starting to take shape. So I want to make sure this is going to be nice and round and full, and that it's not flying away with the wind. Okay, so I don't need these hostas right now, so I'll put it over here. The next thing that I'm counting as a greenery right now is some mint. This is mountain mint, and any of the mints are wonderful to go into your arrangements. A lot of flowers don't have fragrance anymore, so if you put in some herbs, then every time somebody leans down and smells the flower, they are smelling something, or brush up against it. So it's a wonderful thing in there. You never want any greenery in your water, so I'm going to take off this lower parts, okay, and trim it again. And I'm looking at this. This has got a longer piece here, So I'm actually going to let it fall like that. Okay. And here's another nice one. There's no greenery on the bottom. So I'm just going to trim it a little bit lower there. Put it on this side and fill it out here. Another nice one here. And it smells so good in here with this mint. And then I'm going to put this one on this back side. And then probably just one more piece over here. One thing that you want to make sure of when you're putting your greenery in, or any of the flowers, that you cut it right before and you stick it in good and deep, okay? Even if it's a short stem, you want to make sure that it's at least 2 inches into the water. I tend to do it much longer, as long as I can. When you're cutting those flowers out in the garden or the greenery, make sure that you give yourself plenty of stem, because you're cutting them from the garden. Sometimes you're going right back in and recutting them, and then you're going to cut them here while you're doing your design. And sometimes you go, oh, I need to cut it again because it's just not right. So give yourself plenty of stem if you've got that on those flowers. All right, so I'm going to move my mint off to the side with the hosta here. And I'm going to start putting in some other flowers that I'm sure most of you probably grow zinnias and love the zinnias. They last forever. And I'm going to cut them down a little bit because I don't need this whole great big limb. But you notice I still cut it really low, or gave myself plenty of room here. So, because I might want to end up using one of the long ones. So I'm going to cut right here first. And I'm going to remove the greenery from down below and stick that in. And I'm going right above, I'm going to turn this so you can see, right above the level of the greenery. So this is everything's going to be right above it. One of the things that you need to make sure when you're putting in your greenery, oh, that one has no, that's all right, and no flower on it, is that when you're cutting it, don't cut it and then lay it down and go, I don't know. You have about 30 seconds before this seals up. So I cut it and I'm like, I'm talking to you instead, so now I need to recut it. So do it again. Because if you do not, it cannot drink water and you're not going to have a successful arrangement then. All right. That one's kind of, here's a good one. Let's cut both of those off. Take off the lower greenery there. Remember, 30 seconds. So now this one I put down just a little lower. So we've got to doing a stair step going up. So a little lower because this is another lower area and upper, and then I'll build up a little bit more. And we'll just keep doing rings kind of all the way around here in steps. This one I can put on the lower layer too. Take off that greenery. Okay. And again, I'll cut these. I'm going to take that one off because I'm going to use just the center one here. So zinnias just grow very well. You can put the seeds in and they're going to come back a couple years every year. They are not perennial, but they drop seeds, and those seeds just are very abundant. And so you can have a lot of zinnias in just a little bit of time every year. It's beautiful. The butterflies love the zinnias, and you can harvest them. You can dry them and make all kinds of crafts with them, and just they're wonderful. So make sure that you put in some zinnias in your garden. Okay, let's grab some other colors of zinnias here. I've got some beautiful red ones. And that's what I love too. The zinnias come in so many colors. And so put this one taking off the leaves. Stick it down there. Notice I'm still turning my vase around. When I'm putting these in, I'm making sure that I'm going in at an angle. So what you need to think about is this top flower right here is the stalk of your plant. And then all of these are growing off this one stalk. So they come in at an angle. So that way it looks like it's growing naturally. That's what you're trying to mimic when you're making a design. Okay, let's do another red one right here. That's a little droopy, but he'll probably perk back up. Taking off those leaves again. The leaves, if you leave them down in the water, your water is going to get contaminated pretty quick, and you'll have to do a lot more changing of that water to keep them fresh. So just no leaves in the water. Okay. Also, let me just show you with this one. See the angle? It kind of curves out. So I'm going to use that to help in the arrangement. I wouldn't want to put it in this way because then your arrangement, you've got flowers going the wrong direction. So I'm turning it like this. Everybody see that? I put it in this way, makes it just look out of place. So I turn that around, and I've talked, so I need to recut it. And then I'm going to put it in at that angle again, that I'm going to turn it so it's facing out. All right, let's put in some of the sunflowers here. And these are the small sunflowers. They will hold up very well in any of the arrangements. And I probably won't, I'm going to cut off. I love the curve. See that curve going there? I love that. So, but I'm going to cut off some of these lower ones. And then cut my stem. Make sure I'm not going to have any leaves in the water. And I'm going to use this to flow around the bottom. I'm going to cut the stem shorter. I wanted this beautiful flow here coming off of the hosta leaves. And I'm kind of pushing my flowers that are already there out and back so I can get this in easier. And so you see how this is? Now I'm going to take this and go all the way around with them. So I'll look at each one. There's one that will curve very nicely. See the curve in that? So turn this and put it in here. And I pretty well work in 5s and 7s or 3s. Everything looks better when you're doing in flower arrangement in odd numbers. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'll put that on there. Get that out of the way so I don't tip that over. Okay. There's a small one, but it's still curved like that. It'll be a great one to fill in still. And I love the sunflowers. If you can get them before they break that opening, you're going to really have a long-lasting one. So like this one has broke or totally open. These have already broke open and stuff, but they're beautiful. Even after they've done that, it's got great texture in it. But so just look at when your sunflowers are ready to be used. But if they are already open, use them for those pods. I mean, there's just so much beauty in them. All right, let's cut this right here. Okay, and a little bit shorter there. Notice, I mean, I'm measuring by the bottom of my vase. And so I'm kind of thinking, okay, if it's going here, how short do I need to have that? Still cutting it at an angle. The stem's pretty thick right there, so it's going to be harder to get in the angle, but this is going to bend down easily. I'm going to cut off this top part because we don't need it in there. Okay. Okay. I have pretty well went all the way around with this, and it's all kind of going the droopy look in a circular motion. We're going to use some pixie carnations and put in here too. Again, even though there's a little pixie right there, I'm taking that off because it would be down in the water. And popping it in. And it is getting really tight in here, which is good. You want it tight so things don't fall apart. Now, this time I'm going to take and do this next layer up. So here is one layer going circling around. This one I'm going to go all the way around here at that layer. And some of them are pretty full, and I don't have but 5. So I'm going to take off this lower one. I do not need it there. And just going to trim it tiny bit so it can start drinking water again. And so there, it's coming smoothly up here. More right there. And just keep turning it around. Fill it in just a little bit more. That one. Yep, and I just broke that, so we're not going to use it. Okay. All right. We are going to fill in with some Queen Anne's lace. So and I think I need a zinnia right here, so I am going to find another zinnia real fast. Get it from over here. So what I'm doing is I'm filling any holes in, as we do not want holes so that it's like, oh, that's not completely done. So I filled in the hole right here with that one. All right, so let's put in some Queen Anne's, one of my very favorite filler flowers. It grows wild, I think, in almost all the states. If you don't have it growing in your yard, harvest some along the roadside and bring it back and let those seeds scatter in your garden. So they've got nice long stems on them. So we're going to take these apart because we don't need all that in each one. Pull that apart like that. And these are pretty small ones. They get really big. Still fairly early in the season here in Missouri. And so you just watch there. Now, these also do that tipping or turning. So I'm kind of looking at it, which way am I going to do it? I don't like the way this is right here. You see how it's really kind of out of place. So I'm going to actually turn it around the other way. And it was in water, so I'm not worried there. There. Okay, and I sunk it just a little bit more there. Cut this one off. Put some more right here. I love the Queen Anne's lace in things because to me it makes it very much like a wild garden. And that's my favorite style of arrangements. I even use the pods like this here. Okay, it gives it great texture. And this one's pretty little, so I'm going to keep it all together, but still get it in here. Queen Anne's lace is in the carrot family, and they are edible. I've actually never ate them, but it's just a really good wildflower that is beautiful in gardens. Okay. A little bit more of the Queen Anne's. Here's a beautiful big one. Still not as big as they get, though. I'm going to put it up high up here. Okay. And this side definitely needs some of the Queen Anne's. So you want to balance your color out throughout your whole arrangement. So I tried to bring the yellow all the way around. I'm bringing the white around now. I brought the burgundy around and just the different tones of the zinnias. And so you just wanted a real well-balanced arrangement. And that one's too long. So I just took it back out. I'm going to cut it down. Put it back in. And we're not going to use it. It broke. So right now it's getting really tight in there to get things in. And so don't stress on that if you're following along and doing it at the same time. Just sometimes you might have to find a different spot to put it. There, that one went in. And I think I need a little bit of white right here. Okay, it's empty on that. So I'm going to look here. Got a little bit of Queen Anne's left. There's a piece. There we are. Put it in nice and deep so that it is not flying away. You do not want your arrangement to fly away off the table. So I'm going to move all of this away, and I'm going to put in a little bit of grass that we have. I love the grass. I love curly willow. Anything that gives it that real nature look. And this is just a really pretty, the grasses went to seed. And so we're just going to use it as a filler. I'm going to do the first one up here real tall. And again, just because it's grass doesn't mean that you don't clip the bottom. That's too tall. I want a little bit shorter than that because I want him to stair step up. All right. And put in another one here. So this is my tall one. Now I'm going to go around in a circle here. We'll do 3 on here, and then I'll probably do, we'll see if I got enough, but we'll maybe put 4 down there. So cut it a little bit lower and find those empty spots. And I know it's getting harder to find the empty areas, but they're there. So I put it right here. I'm going to do another one right here. So if you notice, I kind of pull in and out trying to get past some of the really tight areas because this is really tight in here. And so you want to make sure that your arrangement is nice and tight. It's going to stay together. All right, one more on this area. And I'm still going in at an angle. Okay, remember this is my main stem going down the middle and everything's going off that main stem. One more piece of grass here. No, I got a couple in the bucket I can still put in, so I'm going to do that. There is a spot that I'm having a hard time getting through, so I pulled it in and out a couple times. Grab these other three. All right. Now I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to look at each one and see if there's an empty spot or if it's not balanced. So, because I want balance all the way around. And I'm looking at the grass right now. And right here, there is no grass. So there's grass on each side right here, but it's empty here. So that is not balanced. So this last one's going to go right there. Cut it, put it in at an angle. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to look at the Queen Anne's, make sure that it is looking good. And the zinnias and everything. Yeah. Okay, so I've just got a couple things left to put in here. And there's hostas. This would be really pretty if I had coleus. I could put it in right now. Even more, the mint would be really pretty, just right here at the bottom. So anything to fill out this bottom part, because these are here, but they're drooping a little bit, so I don't want them to be too droopy. And I am going to be putting a bow in it, and I'm going to be putting a bird nest. So I'm going to look now where do I want my bird nest. So I tend to put something like this in every one of my arrangements, either butterflies or birds or bumblebees, anything like that. So I'm looking for that, and I think I'm wanting it right up here in this area. So we're going to do that next. When you make arrangements, always try to bring something else in to give that eye to go, oh, wow, look at that. That's really cool. I mean, you could put pine cones in it, okay, and you just all over, and you would just wire them. And I do want to show you real fast how to wire. Wire comes in several different sizes, and this is not a very lightweight one, but it's not real heavy, so it doesn't hurt my fingers when I bend it. And I use a toilet paper or a paper towel holder to hold my tape so it doesn't roll across the room. So this type of tape is sticky, but not until you pull it. So I'm going to pull it, and then I'm going to wire this up, and you just twirl it with the one hand and hold it and pull it at the same time with the other hand. And this takes some practice, but it works really well when you're doing bows or pretty well anything like this. And so I just want to show you, if I was going to be putting a bunch of the pine cones in, I would do that and then just wrap it around here and sturdy up the wire by twisting. And then I have a good thing. You could add a piece of the stem. I've got a stem of a tree branch there of the curly willow, wrapping it around. So then I really have control over where I'm going to place this in my arrangement, okay? So that's that one. If you're doing a bow, it's kind of the same way. I actually added just the stem to it. You could go out and buy a bunch of the green picks, okay? But I rarely ever do. I just tend to use some of the sticks that I have and do this. So I'm going to make a bow real fast in front of you so you can see how that's done. This is number 9 ribbon. Ribbon comes in different sizes. The real thick is number 40. I tend to use a lot of number 9s in my arrangements. I want a nice long tail on it. And so I'm going to put that and twist. This is wire ribbon, makes it so easy when you're doing your arrangements. So I'm twisting it. So now this is the top, or the nice side, and here's the inside. So I put it down to my finger and I squeeze it together and I twist it. So now on top is the wrong side, and the good side's down here. So I'm going to do another loop, squeeze together, twist. So I keep doing that. That way what is on top is my beautiful ribbon. And I'm going to put 3 loops on each side for this. Twist it all together, or squeeze it together. And then, as I used my ribbon or the wire, I'll just go and use straight wire. Putting the wire through my fingers here, around under my thumb, and then I pull it really tight. This is really important, that you're pulling it really tight. And part of the reason why you want to use this tape is for this step, because you're pulling it tight. It's going to really dig into your finger. So you go around a couple times, and then you're going to check it to make sure that it's nice and tight and secure. So if I pull on these bows, I don't want it to come apart. So it's not coming apart, so it's good and secure. So these are really easy then to fluff up with the wire in here and get them into shape. And just move everything around to where it looks good. Okay, and then I'd go on and wrap the wire around a stick, and I'd have my bow. So we are going to be using this bow, and we're going to use this little bird's nest in here. And need another piece of wire. And I'm going to make like a shepherd's hook for this bird nest. Go down through it. Take both pieces through. Twist together. And then I'm going to add it to a stick. Now, if I was doing this for somebody else, I would go on and probably tape this, which I'll just show you real fast. If I was doing it just for me, I don't worry about it. But I want it to look nice and beautiful. And so even when they pull it out, I want it to look good. So I'm just wrapping the tape around here, just so it covers that wire. I'm actually going to go one more time over because that tape did not want to stick there. Wants to stick to my fingers instead. There we go. So I'm pulling again as I'm twisting it around. All right. So now I was going to put the bird nest right here, and I kind of want it to sit straight. Actually, I'm going to turn this so I can actually see what I'm doing there. There. Okay. So there's my bird nest. And I'm just going to put the little bow right here. And I don't need this long stick in it. I'm just going to put it next to it. This spot. And it's got that wire in it. So I can twirl it. And part of this is really important, why I love the wire. It makes your eye travel around. So right now, when you're looking at the arrangement, you're actually going down with your eyes and off to the side. And so it just pulls it around. If you was to take the ribbon and curl it up through here, it would make your eye go everywhere. So I'm going to put a little bit more greenery in here. The only other thing we could put in here is like some pussy willow or some curly willow, which is my favorite, which again, I don't think it needs it, but if I wanted to put it in here, it really makes your eye flow and curl around. And that's very important for any design. So just going to put a little bit more of this greenery around places that need it. So this is the mint. And I'm putting it under the hosta because I want to make the hosta stick up just a little bit there. And trim that down. Okay. Turning it. Let's put a little bit of the mint right here. Remove some of that lower part. So I'm under the hosta again, but I'm still going in at an angle because I want this mint to be in the water. Okay. All right. I think we are pretty well done with the arrangement. We can take some question and answers or answer the questions if you have any. So Gabe, we're there. Okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Christine. That was amazing watching that come together.
Thank you.
Yeah. I will let people drop their questions into the chat. But in the meantime, I have a question about the water in the vase. There are a lot of flowers in there. I'm just wondering, how often do you need to replace it? And
this is what I would do is I fill mine up really full. Okay. If we're going to be taking it somewhere, then I won't put as much in. But if I'm delivering it to a friend, I don't want to have her have to worry about watering it every other day. So I fill it as full as I can. And then I'll check it in about 4 days. And all I do is just come over here, pull the greenery back, put my finger in, and if I can feel the water, it's still good. If I can't, I'm just going to pour a little bit in. And if you just keep the water filled in there, it should last you a good 2 weeks.
Wonderful. So we have our first question in the chat here. What flowers would you recommend that are pet friendly?
Oh my. I actually can't answer that one. None of our animals have ever wanted to eat the flowers, so I've never worried about it. I mean, we can eat zinnias, so they're probably pet friendly. Queen Anne's the same way. Hostas are edible. Sunflowers are. Every bit of the sunflower is. I have echinacea in here, which is also coneflower. It's edible, but I would say it's edible for people. I just don't know that answer. Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. We have another question from Jean here, who says, Christine, thank you. Do you ever do something to cover the stems from the inside of the vase?
I do. We've done where you put oranges or lemons in there. We also, if it's a clear vase, sometimes I'll put marbles, or there's those beads that you add water to and they look really cool in there, or rocks. Most of the time, I mean, I put colored water. I've dyed the water blue, or if we're doing some theme, so I've done that. But most of the time I try to get people to understand that part of the beauty is the stems too, because they do look good, unless they're, getting dirty and gross with lots of greenery down there. But so I don't know. We've wrapped vases with material if it's a clear one, and we didn't want to see the bottoms of the stems. So there's just a lot you can do. I think probably our favorite is when we've done the oranges and lemons around the edge of the vases. It looks really, really cool.
And I guess, how do you go about preparing the oranges and lemons if some of our people wanted to do that or try that out?
We washed them and then sliced them because we still want clean water. Okay. And then we use straight vases. So like this one, but taller. And so I was able to put that down in there and just stack them on top of each other. And we did some where we actually sat a vase inside of that too to help them stay right in place. But we've done them both ways. We've done them where we've done the whole, mandarin oranges down in the bottom. Looks really cool too. So.
Great. Thank you. We have another question here from Sean Case, who says, how much 7-Up and aspirin should you add when using them as flower food?
For 7-Up, I would probably put maybe 2 tablespoons for this size of vase. Aspirin, get the baby aspirin, the 81 milligrams, and 1 into a vase. So
that's great. I didn't even know people use that.
The other thing you could put in too is peroxide. Peroxide is going to keep any bacteria from growing in there. And so that, if you've got some that's like, oh, I don't know, they just look kind of ducky, you can put some peroxide in there and it'll help clean it up.
Wonderful. We have another question from Marcia Kunst. Have you ever taken Queen Anne's lace and colored them with Kool-Aid that is prepared?
I have. And I've also done carnations and white daisies, and yes, and it works very well. And what's really, I think is really cool is when you go on and dye your water and do it with the Kool-Aid or just food coloring too, and to go on and put your arrangement together and then just watch it change over the next week and for kids to watch this, teaching them how it's hydrating, it's sucking that water up there, and so they can see how the flower is using that water.
That's great. Yeah, I have another question. While other people are thinking of theirs. So I guess my question is, when you're going out to kind of source your flowers, what are you looking for, and what kind of combos are you thinking about?
I'm looking, I don't want all of them to be mature, okay? Because I want it to last. Well, let me just show you. I've got a sunflower here, 2 sunflowers that we didn't end up using because I really would prefer to do sunflowers, except these small ones, with 3 to 5 in it, so it balances. So if I did an arrangement like this, it's going to be heavy on one side. But I only had 2 that were open right now, large like this, and this one is very mature. Okay, I can put it in an arrangement, but it's going to die in about 3 to 4 days. This one is not. It has still got a good week and a half on it. So if I was putting a bunch of sunflowers in like this, I would get some that are not totally opened up yet, because it's going to take a good week and a half to open them then, unless you're putting it in a really hot room. Okay, so I like to get ones that are not all, well, just like the Queen Anne's. This one's done. It's spent already, but it's beautiful pot in there. And then the other ones are going to continue to grow. And that's one thing we didn't talk about. Queen Anne's lace, I sunk it in really deep because it still grows. So in another week, the Queen Anne's lace is going to be out here by the edge. Daisies do the same thing. So you need to think about, put them in deeper than you normally would, but still put them all in the same height in your round area, and then let them grow. Okay. But yeah, so it's better to pick some that are some that are older, because you don't want an arrangement that everything's closed still, and that's just not pretty. So but you don't want them to be so open that in a week it's a totally just all spent and dead looking.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we don't have any more questions, but that's great because I have one more question.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, so I guess when you're sourcing all your different materials, I mean, I know that flowers bloom at different times throughout the season. Do you have any specific summer favorites or ones that will be coming up soon?
Yeah, I do have some. My spring and fall, I love stock. It's my very favorite flower, but it won't grow through our season through the summer. I love, I'm trying to think, Queen Anne's lace. I love the whole bouquet of Queen Anne's lace. I love that, and that's a summer one. I love, it's really strong in here, smelling of mint right now. And, but I love that because I keep hitting this, I'm smelling it. So I think that's really important to put, whether it's thyme or basil or any of those herbs in there. So you're getting that wonderful smell. I'm trying to think other things that I really like Leatris, which is also called Blazing Star. It does a really beautiful straight spikes. Delphinium and hydrangeas. Those are probably the stock delphinium and hydrangeas are my very favorite. Oh wait, and larkspur. So, and they're all counted as a garden flower. They're all beautiful in arrangements. I like color, but I also I like to do monochromatic, which means all one color. They can be a really beautiful bouquet doing that. Trying to think of whatever I just love flowers, so I'm like, okay. But one thing that people don't think about is when you're walking around your yard, you can get something unusual like this grass. This is a nuisance grass here at our place. This is Johnson grass, and oh my God, we hate it, but I love it in this arrangement. Bittersweet or honeysuckle or ivy that's growing wild and driving you crazy, harvest it. Wormwood, it's beautiful. It is one that will go limp, but if you stick it in there, we have variegated wormwood, and so it's yellow and green. If you stick it in there and let the flowers make it stay up, it wouldn't look good here on this edge. It droop over and look like it's gone in about 24 hours. Boxwood, a wonderful one. If you have a head, or evergreens. I mean, and you don't have to use evergreens just at the holiday time. They are beautiful in these arrangements. So I would encourage you just to walk around your yard and find some unusual things. Some nuisance things. Can I harvest some grapevine that grows wild and make my eye travel throughout that arrangement? I love curly willow, which is very unusual that I don't have curly willow in this arrangement. I actually have it over here in the bucket, but I didn't feel like it needed that. But I would encourage you to put curly willow in your yard. It's a tree. But, and it's not a real big tree. It gets maybe 15, 18 feet tall. You can, if you're cutting on it all the time, you can control that height pretty good. But it's one of my favorite things to grow and to use. Birchwood, pussy willow, any of those. When I think what else is out there. Elderberry flowers, I tried those because they're beautiful when they're full bloom, but they they don't stand up after being cut. So that's one that is like, okay, I just need it for 24 hours, you're okay. But if you're trying to make that arrangement last for 2 weeks, it's not going to. But now I put greenery in here from the elderberry, and it will be fine because it's being held up anyways with all these other flowers. And it's a great filler greenery.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we have run out of time, but I think I can speak for everyone when I say that that was amazing, and yeah, we appreciate your expertise
All right,
so much.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.